No time to fear, Karel is so near, because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
Happy Monday, August 3rd. It is the Karel Show. Donald Trump's biggest lie to date, meaning this week, is exposed. Gun violence rages in America, and Boy George steps in a pile of crap. We'll talk about that and so much more.
Now it's showtime.
Hello, my carolers, here at the Karel Show. So very glad you are joining me on this Monday, August 3rd. Happy late birthday to Hannah Bolte, whose birthday was yesterday. Andrew's birthday would have been in four days, August 7th, and he would have been 50 this year, and I'm not sure he would have liked it. And he still would have said, well, I'm younger than you. He would have been 60. I'm sorry, he would have been 60 this year. He died at 34. Who dies at 34? Just ridiculous. Well, there's a lot going on. You know, today, 30 years ago, the Macarena became number one. 30 years ago, 1996. And it became number one and stayed on the chart for 60 weeks. And for years, for decades, it held the title of the longest running song on the pop charts. Can you imagine the Macarena? Hey, Macarena! Which had quite a storied past and the way that it got to be a hit. It was recorded by one group, and then they wanted to play it in America, and people were like, oh, we don't play it, Spanish songs here. So then another group covered it in English, and then it became a hit. But anyway, and then remember Al Gore tried to do it at his campaign rally and nearly cost him nearly cost him the nomination. He was like, hey, Macarena. 30 years. And Charo had something to do with the dance. I think she invented the dance at her show or something like that. So 30 years ago today, the Macarena hit number one. And if you're old enough, I'm sure that many of you remember the Macarena. I'm sure you do. Bubba-dum, Macarena, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, it's a buena, blah, 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 Macarena, hey, Macarena. Oh my God, I hated that song. Oh, I hated it. And they'd play it at the bar and everyone would get out and do it like in a line dance. I would go drink. It's like, not doing that. But that was 30 years ago today. A little piece of history, if you like today in history. A lot of other terrible things happened today in history too. You know, I get this Today in History newsletter every single day, and it tells me, oh, what's happening. And I have to tell you, some days I am reminded just how terrible some of history is. I think today was one of those days I had trouble picking what to illustrate from my morning little illustration because some bad things happened today as well. So I chose the Macarena because I thought, well, that's only so bad, right? Today, also in 1958, the Nautilus submarine traveled under the North Pole for the first time. Tony Bennett was born. Martha Stewart was born today in 1941. Happy birthday, Martha Stewart. Track and field star Jesse Owens, who was only one of 18 black athletes on the U.S. team at the Berlin Games, won his first of 4 gold medals today, the most of any American at the Games. When he came back home, only white Olympians were invited to the White House, which really proved its name that way, huh? Columbus set sail from Spain today in 1492. The Treaty of Greenville was signed. Germany declared war on France today in 1914. See what I mean? Some of the things that happened, not the greatest. The NBA was born today in 1949. After a damaging 3-year battle to win both players and fans, the NBA was born. Isn't that something? The Spy Who Loved Me was released in theaters in 1977 with the great Carly Simon song, The Spy Who Loved Me. And Michael Hardwick in 1982 was arrested for sodomy after a police officer observed him having sex with another man in his own bedroom in Georgia through the curtains. The charges were dropped. However, Hardwick decided to challenge the constitutionality of the Georgia law. And by a 5-4 vote, the Supreme Court handed down its decision that states could continue to treat certain types of consensual sex as criminal acts. That was overturned in 2003. So from 1983 until 2003, for 20 years, gay sex was illegal, and prior to that as well. So up until 2003, gay people could be arrested in their own homes for having sex. What a ridiculously barbaric nation we are. See what I mean by some days are icky stuff? Ick.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
So the weekend was spent with a lot of pundits calling Trump a liar, liar, pants on fire, which he lies. If his mouth is moving, he's lying. Or shitting his diaper. But Donald Trump lied about the reflecting pool. Now, we all knew this at the time. You see, that's what I mean. The media fails us by failing to report and do their job. And then when what we all knew to be true is revealed, then they act like it's news. Oh my God, look. I mean, Aaron Parnas was beside himself using the term bullshit and all this other stuff. All because Jeanine Pirro, the drunk head of our Justice Department, had to drop all the charges against anyone charged with in the reflecting pool, including the Olympic athlete who should sue, because there was no vandalism. And so everybody all weekend long is, he lied, he lied, he lied, he lied, he lied. Of course he lied. He gave a no-bid contract to a friend, paid 5 times what it actually should have cost, and then because no one he knows is a respectable individual, this person did a terrible job on the reflecting pool, and bam, we have the debacle that we're in now, where it's closed, it's ugly. But what's worse is we've spent $17 million. Why doesn't Trump have to give that money to us? Why can't we, the people, sue Donald Trump and say, you did this, you broke it, you bought it, fix it? Because life doesn't work that way, does it? He can waste all the money in the world, that is ours, and never have to pay a dime out of his own pocket, and lie constantly. And that's what he does. He lies. And it appears the news was shocked by the fact that he lied, and this shows what a oligarch country we are living in. The Department of Justice should not be at the beck and call of Donald Trump. They knew when they were charging these people that there was insufficient evidence. They knew this. If Jeanine Pirro didn't, she should put down the wine bottle and resign. Okay, they all knew that there was no evidence. You charge someone with a crime for making a 300-foot slit with a box cutter, and you have no box cutter, you have no weapon, you have no motive, and you have no video evidence. That's called malicious prosecution at behest of the president. And while he might be immune from charges because of the Supreme Court, his cabinet is not. Jeanine Pirro should be up on charges for malicious prosecution. She should be disbarred and litigated against. Maybe she will, maybe she won't, but that's, in a perfect world. Now, we do have some glimmers of hope about the media. For those of you, I'm sure most of you have seen the Dana Bash video of her and RFK Jr. And he crashes out. He has a meltdown because she's one of the first members of the media that does not back down. That looks at him square in the face and says, you're lying. I am not going to let you sit here and say things that are untrue. When he says, well, you, the media, are the problem, she countered back, I am not part of the problem. CNN is not part of the problem. You are the seated head of the HHS. Measles have exploded on your watch. 93% of cases are unvaccinated people, and you are a champion of not getting vaccinated. Do you take any responsibility for the measles outbreak? And when he says no, she goes off on him. She goes, how can you not? The same with COVID. When he tried to say the vaccine didn't work or that it was bad for children, she had the receipts and said, no, I'm not letting you tell these lies. So, a little hope. Somebody actually sticking it back to these people and saying, hey, you're lying. But as for Trump, nobody. Nobody today has asked him, Donald Trump, why did you lie about the reflecting pool? You knew what you were saying at the time was a lie. So why did you lie? Also, Congress, the Senate, and the House are about to go on an August recess without Mitch McConnell. No Mitch McConnell. And I'm fine with that. Let him miss all the votes. Let them have an empty seat. Because we all know he's not coming back. When they come back from their recess in September, he will not be there. If he is alive, he will come back in time to retire. He'll come back November 1st. And then that's it. He's gone. They're leaving the seat empty on purpose. However, Andy Bashir made it clear today that he'll call a special election any damn time he wants. And this whole deadline of August 3rd is bullshit. And he made that very clear. So that's good. So a lot of those things are things that were happening over the weekend. I wish I could say that I paid attention to them over the weekend. I did not. I didn't. I caught up last night and this morning. You know, over the weekend, what did I... Well, my camera, my 10-year-old camera for the show is failing. Half the time I turn it on, it doesn't work. I have to turn it off and on. I have to let it cool down, whatever the case might be. So I've been looking at new cameras. And a new camera for the show is about $3,000. And I don't have it. I'd have to charge that on a credit card. And I need to. If I'm going to keep doing the show, I need to get a new camera. And then use this as a secondary one in case one goes out. You know, if this camera goes out, like right now, I have no backup. There's like my iPhone. That's what I'd have to use. And I'm filming a music video for You Have to Be Proud, which is out now, and you're going to stream it. You Have to Be Proud by Karel, K-A-R-E-L. And I thought about money all weekend long. You know, I got new earrings. And when I went and bought them, I was like, how are earrings this expensive? You know? So I don't say that to plead poverty or to have any of you, you know, whatever. I say that because I bet, like me, you thought about money this weekend. You know, I bet you and I have that in common. That because gas, you know, is soaring. And grocery prices. I went to the grocery store this weekend. Many of you went to the grocery store this weekend. It is ridiculous. It's out of control, except for berries. They are practically giving those away because no one's buying them. And you shouldn't. Now we've had some deaths in Michigan from cyclospora. Because look, it's not fatal unless you have very deep underlying conditions. So if you're someone who is not well to begin with and you get cyclospora, you could die. 3 people have. So leafy lettuce, don't buy it. Cabbage, don't buy it unless you're going to cook it. Bagged salads, do not buy them. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, mint, parsley, basil, don't buy it unless you're going to cook it. Anything that you're going to get above 140 degrees when those little bastard eggs die, fine, okay. If you're not going to get it above 140 this summer, you're not eating it. I eat a ton of fruit, 2 cups of fruit a day. What fruit am I eating? Mango, papaya, banana, pineapple, melon. Everything with a hard exterior that you peel away. What am I not eating? Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, unless you cook them. Period. Just end of story. So everything was so expensive. I mean, I went just to Cardenas to buy some bananas and some other fruit, $17 for bananas and some peaches and a melon. A cantaloupe, bananas, some peaches, and guacamole. $17. I was like, truly? These earrings that I'm wearing, which I think I got raped on, I really do, because they were $40. And I went online, and I think they're like $15 earrings. They're stone. They're real stone. But because those big bars, I love them. But it gives MAGA something to pick on. They love to talk about my earrings. They're so obsessed with me. MAGA is so obsessed with wanting to fuck me, calling me fag and all this because they're closeted homosexuals themselves. We know that. We have the proof. And SYBAU, they put that, which means shut your bitch ass up in Newspeak. Oh, this morning, let's see, what have I been called this morning? A fag? Oh, yeah, this morning I've been called a fag. Someone said that they want to pay for my demise. They want to fund my demise. That was turned over to to Instagram. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's either because of my post or what I said under Boy George's post, which we're going to get to. But oh yeah, my fag and moron detector is bleeping. Oh yeah, just off and on and on, off and on and on. And I know you guys say don't read them, don't pay attention to them and everything else, but it's kind of hard when they just pop up in your feed and it says, oh, so-and-so commented, on your post. And then you go there and you look at it and it's like, oh my God, So there's a lot of haters. But then again, they're hating on Madonna. I posted a thing about Madonna because they were hating on her. And I said, well, she got a #1 album and she's touring. I don't think she cares about you. And now they're ragging on her. Some lady called her. This woman commented back about my defense of Madonna and said she looks like a whore. And this woman's whole thing on Instagram is that she's had all this cosmetic surgery. She looks worse than a Kardashian. I had to tell her. I said, well, honey, it takes one to know one because look at you. But anyway, I know I shouldn't comment back. I know that I should just not even look at it. I know. And yet, I know I shouldn't, but I do. And they're horrible. Horrible, horrible comments. So yeah, like you, I spent the weekend thinking of money. It was 115 degrees yesterday. It's going to be 113 today. Vegas is in day 9 of 10 days above 110. That's going to be extended to 17 days above 110. People here are irritated. They're agitated. It's bad. It's bad. It really is. People are not handling the heat well. They're crashing out all over the place. And it's hot. I mean, right now outside at 10:16 in the morning, it's 101. Right now, outside, it's 101. So that irritates you, and this weekend I was irritated. I was agitated and irritated. It was hot. Ember was hot. I was hot, even though the car was cool. Thank God the air conditioner works. And the house was cool. And the businesses were cool. Going to and from, just oppressive, just hot and horrible because of climate change, something that we won't address. So Donald Trump lied about the reflecting pool. People lost their minds over the weekend about it. And I'm like, how can you lose your mind about a liar lying? I mean, he's a liar and he lies. I mean, this is not news to anyone that's been following. The New York Times, in his last term, printed all of his lies. It took up 6 pages. I'm not making that up. There was something like 4,820 lies or something. It was just ridiculous. Meanwhile, this Todd Blanche, his nomination is now secure for Attorney General. And what does he promise? That they won't do this illegal weaponization fund, but they are giving Trump and his children immunity for any tax audits up until this point, up until today. You know who needs immunity from tax audits? Fraudsters. And why is he being given preferential treatment from any other American? Why can't we all now sue the IRS and say, if you are granting immunity from audits for this man and all of his children, then under the law, you must grant it to me as well. Because equal equals equal. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't lawyers on behalf of 300 plus million American people suing the IRS for qualified immunity from any audits up until this day? Any time frame that Donald Trump gets, we should all get. And if we don't, then he shouldn't get it. Anyone that's in litigation with the IRS right now, and there are many, you should settle your lawsuit by saying that part of the deal is no audits for anything in my past. Now, that just proves he's a criminal. You know who doesn't need special treatment from the IRS? People who don't screw the IRS. That's who. You know the only people that need protection from the law? Criminals. That's who. So he's a criminal. He's a liar and a criminal. He's like Wile E. Coyote. Or no, Elmer J. Fudd, millionaire who owns a mansion and a yacht. Except he is Donald J. Trump, billionaire, liar, and criminal. I am Donald J. Trump, billionaire. I am a liar and a criminal. That should be everything he says. When he shakes your hand, hi, I am Donald J. Trump, billionaire. I am a liar and a criminal. So that pretty much sums it up. Hey, Macarena! It's going to be in your mind all day now because I reminded you of it. 30 years ago, that song became an earworm and infected our brains. Hey, Macarena!
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
You want more proof that Donald J. Trump is a liar? Iran says it is in talk with Oman, Jordan, but not the United States, after Trump says negotiations are resuming today. And their new Lego video, oh my God, it eviscerates him. I wish the American media would hire whatever Iranian is doing the Lego videos. We need them over here. Just kidnap them, whatever. Just get them here. We need them here because they are making scathing video indictments of Donald Trump that we all should be doing. The media should be saying what these Lego videos are saying. The new one's all about Epstein and how he is a pedophile. He's not a pedophile. Donald Trump is not a pedophile. No one in the Epstein files is a pedophile. Epstein did not traffic in prepubescent girls. To my knowledge, Epstein did not traffic in 10, 11, or 12-year-old girls. As far as I know, all the girls had finished puberty. They were 15, 16, 17, 18. If you sleep with them, you're a statutory rapist, not a pedophile. But facts don't bother people anymore. Just because that's the fact doesn't mean it, people are going to talk that way. So as much as I hate to say it, he's not a pedophile. He's a statutory rapist. That's what he is. So get your sex crimes right. But the Lego videos from Iran, oh my God, they're priceless. They're priceless. And more proof he's a liar. He's out there saying, and did you hear this? Oh my God. The grift. Oh my God, there's two big grifts that happened over the weekend. First of all, companies like Apple and Amazon are getting billions of dollars from the tariff fund that the Supreme Court said he has to pay back. Apple's getting like $20 billion. Jeff Bezos is getting like $15, $20 billion. Now, how much are you getting back? The people that actually paid the tariffs. See, the company passes on the expense of the tariff to you and I. So they technically didn't pay the tariff. We did. Are we getting any of that back? No. So the company got charged a tariff. They charged us more and we paid the tariff. Now the company is getting the tariff back. So that's just pure profit for the company. So this was all a grift. It was all a grift. He probably knew that they would be thrown out and that companies would end up getting billions back. It's a grift. A giant grift. Everything he does is a grift. And now companies like Apple and Amazon are getting billions back. Remember he said that you were going to be getting, and I was going to be getting a tariff dividend check? Not happening. But boy, Jeff Bezos is getting one. Tim Cook is getting one. You and I, not so much. But them, oh yeah. Grift. Just a big grift. And now, Truth Social has become the official way that Donald Trump communicates with world leaders and others. It's how he sends out his policies. So if you have access to that early, you could do insider trading. You could do all kinds of things. Well, guess what? He is now charging companies thousands of dollars a month to have access to the Truth Social tweets prior to anybody else. I don't even know how that's legal, but he's doing it. And so far, he's set to make over $100,000 a month. A month. That's $1.2 million a year into his pocket. He owns Truth Social. Why? So they can get early information from him and profit. Everything they do is a grift. Everything. It's sad and it's tragic. And what's going to happen? Nothing. Is anyone going to stop it? Not in any time soon. So yeah. So you can see why someone said to me this weekend, you really enjoy your time off. It's not that I enjoy the time off. It's that I enjoy not having to pay attention to all this stuff. Because it's truly maddening. You know, if you look at the headlines, just go through them. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche reaches deal with holdout senators to scrap $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, but grant Trump and his family previous immunity from all audits from the IRS up until today. So anything he did on his taxes or his kids up until now can't be audited. Wow, I wish we had such special treatment. What'd he do to get such special treatment? I thought presidents weren't above the law. I thought blah, 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 MAGA, blah, blah. MAGAs, they're idiots. Iran says it's in talk with Oman, but not the United States. So a lie that Trump told to manipulate the markets. Trump lied today and said, oh yes, we're going to speak to Iran, so oil prices would go down. And now someone will buy something or sell something, and then they'll go back up and someone will make a lot of money. Because it's all a grift. It's all a grift. Let's see what else. John Ossoff, the next thing, or the great white hype for Dems. I love that TMZ said, you seem to have big dick energy. And he was like, dude. Oh, God. COVID cases are rising. Where? In the South. In the unvaccinated South. So let them have it. I don't care anymore. Go get vaccinated for COVID. I might get one. I know I had a negative reaction to the last vaccine, but what can I do? Texas, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina. COVID's exploding in all of those states. Why? They're not vaccinated. I hope it becomes a deadly strain. Kidding. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not. I wish I were. California, New York, Illinois, and Michigan are showing slight growth. Why? Vaccine. Arizona, New Mexico, Montana, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, they have stable transmission levels. So, staying the same. It's growing in Nevada. It's not changing in New Mexico and Arizona. Growing in California. Growing in Texas. Well, the South. Look at the map. Can you see this? I don't think you can. But it's growing in the South, where they're not vaccinated. It's growing everywhere where they're not vaccinated. Aren't they just something? Aren't they just? What? Rosie
It's
O'Donnell
broadcasting from a completely different point of view.
Rosie O'Donnell will be back
Yours.
on The View for season 3.
Listen daily to the Karelcast on your favorite streaming service.
Saying she will take part in the show. Oh, she's taking part in. See how deceptive headlines are?
You're listening to the Karelcast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
All right, we are back. Rosie is not returning to The View. She's going to be on their 30th anniversary special, and that's it. That's it. Let's see. What else is going on? Over 4 million people are no longer receiving food aid amid sweeping changes to SNAP. Great. 4 million hungry people. Isn't that wonderful? What else? Western heat wave forecast to hit 115 degrees in Las Vegas and Phoenix. Yup. We hit it. Not going to. We did it. And it's going to keep going. The heat, let's see. It expires in 3 days. The heat expires in 3 days. Isn't that something? And Europe, oh my God, I just saw on the BBC, the UK had the driest months in their history. Their crops are dying. Global devastation is upon us, children. 10,000 people in Germany died this year from the heat. 10,000 people in Germany. That's gobsmacking. And then there's Boy George. So, as we said last week on the show, Boy George recorded this pro-Israel song. Which, you know what, as an artist, if you want to record a pro-Israel song, I guess go ahead and do it. But the words are really inflammatory. It's like, well, you say genocide, we say war. After all, when you're attacked, what are weapons for? Those are the actual lyrics. And he used AI music. Even I don't do that. And I think AI helped him write the lyrics too. His label, which he owns, okay, wouldn't release it. His own label that he owns would not release the song. And instead of talking to the head of the label and saying, well, what are your objections? Boy George, an alleged Buddhist, called him names and fired him. So Boy George is no more Buddhist than you are. You know, he's not. Because he says war is okay. And Buddhists are pacifist, period. End of story. Even if you attack them, pacifist. They didn't used to be, but they are. So he releases this very pro-Israel song. And then he gets dropped from Jesus Christ Superstar. And he gets a big backlash online. And in person, he's getting dropped from dates. People don't want the controversy. So under it, I made a comment that, you know, I don't know what's gotten into him, you know, but he is notorious for making bad decisions. Now, look, I used to love Boy George. I did. I used to love the way he dressed, the way he talked. I loved his stances. You know, he used to be very liberal. I love Boy George, or used to. But then he became a heroin addict and made really bad choices and went to jail. When he got out of jail, he chained a call boy, a rent boy, to a radiator by his bed, beat him with a chain, left him there, and went out partying to a club. Left the guy handcuffed in his apartment after hitting him, and went out partying. He denied it online. He said absolutely untrue. And thousands of people posted the news stories under there and said, why are you lying? This is easily accessed. Now that's a bad life choice. Hiring a hooker, not paying the hooker, beating the hooker with a chain, and then handcuffing them to your radiator and going out and leaving them there, and then having to serve 7 months in jail for it. That's a bad life choice. So Boy George and his heroin addiction, he can't sing. Can we all just acknowledge Boy George has lost his voice? He cannot sing. At all. He can't sing. Period. At all. He can't hold a note. So an ex-heroin addict who also tied a hooker to a radiator, beat him, and then left him, and went to jail for that, has now made a pro-Israel song and is getting backlash. Why? Why aren't people standing with Israel? And is there a difference between that and the Jews? Are Israel and the Jews the same thing? No, they are not.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Now, a lot of people, when I posted that Boy George should not have created a song that basically ignores genocide, have said it's not genocide, what Netanyahu did. It is genocide. When you continually bomb a people for no other reason than their ethnicity, that is genocide. And that's what Netanyahu did. Hamas was no more a threat to them, and they certainly had retaliated for their October 7th event. Or, how much retaliation does that one event warrant? So they got their pound of flesh, but they kept going because they were committing genocide. Netanyahu would not be content until he wiped out every Palestinian he could. And he's still doing it. They're still bombing Gaza. It's still going on. Children, women, innocent people still dying to this day. That's genocide. Now, I don't need the International Criminal Court or the International Justice Court in South Africa. I don't need them to tell me that. I have eyes, I have ears, I know what the definition of genocide is. So don't come at me and say that Israel is not committing genocide. It is. However, that doesn't mean I hate all the Jews. There are many, many Jews that are against what's happening over there. There are many Jews in Israel that do not support Netanyahu. There are many Jews in America that do not support Netanyahu or what he is doing in Palestine. Many Jews. Many, 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 many. I only have issue with the Jews in so much as they believe in a God, that I think anyone that believes in a deity is somewhat crazy. But they keep it to themselves. Jews don't, you know what? People in the comments have been saying why don't you go to Palestine since you support them so much? They'll kill you there because you're gay. Here in America, let me tell you something. Muslims are not asking that the laws of Allah be put on the school, on the walls in schools. Christians are. Muslims are not attacking homosexuals in the United States. Christians are. Muslims are not trying to pass laws in the United States to outlaw trans people or gay people. Christians are. Muslims don't come to my door trying to convert me, or Jews. Christians do. For everything I just said about Muslims, you could also say about Jews. Jews are not trying to put the Torah in schools, public schools. Jews don't come to your door trying to make you Jewish. Jews aren't out trying to outlaw trans people and gay people. The most destructive religion to me and to others in the United States is by far Christianity. So don't come at me and say, oh, you're defending the Palestinians. Well, they would kill you. Not in America, they wouldn't. Not one Palestinian in America has knocked on my door and told me I'm evil. Not one Palestinian has asked to put the Quran inside school classrooms. Not one Palestinian has tried to get the Congress to make laws against women, against gays, against trans. That's all Christian. All of it. So the most destructive religion in the world is Christianity. Now followed by Judaism. Muslims take a third to that. So be factual. Should Boy George release the song? Well, he did. And you know what? Take the repercussions. Be a grown-up. Wear your big girl panties. He's out there being on the defensive and saying, oh, I was never arrested for that. I didn't tie someone to a radiator. Yeah, you did. You beat a hooker, handcuffed him to your bed, and left him there to go out partying with Marilyn. That's not someone I look up to anymore. He sided with Morrissey when Morrissey was calling Sadiq Khan, the ex-mayor of London, all these horrible anti-Muslim names. Boy George defended Morrissey, wore a Smith's t-shirt. The old man, he's my age. The old man doesn't make great decisions. Heroin addict, convicted kidnapper, basically. Sides with Morrissey, the racist. And now releases a song saying, you call it genocide, we call it war. When you're attacked, what are weapons for? He deserves the heat he's getting. And he's also made some very questionable comments about sexuality recently. I'm like, you know what? We are fighting for visibility and you're saying we should stop? He's like, oh, stop making gay such a big issue and blah, 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 blah. I saw a thing today. There's a new trend. Christian ministers are getting on planes and buses. Not Muslims, not Jews, but Christian ministers are getting on planes and buses. And once the people are captive, they start preaching. And there's a video now of an entire bus turning on this person and telling them to shut the fuck up or get off the bus. And when the guy won't shut up, they literally throw him off at the next stop. They actually throw him off. They're like, look, we don't want to hear your crap. If you want to pray, pray. If you, I'm trying to convert you and save your lives. They're like, we don't want it. Get off. Christians are doing that. Not Muslims, not Jews, Christians. You can search the internet now. I'll tell you right now, if I'm on a plane and someone stands up and starts talking about Jesus, I'm throwing coffee in their face. I don't want to hear it. Sit your ass down and shut up. Keep your God shit to yourself. Or I'll just stand up and start singing the gayest song I know at the top of my lungs to drown them out. I'll sing the gayest song I know. You Have to Be Proud by Karel. I'll just belt it out. You have to be proud with hatred so loud. Yes, I'll just belt it out right over them. And you look at that. Muslims aren't doing that. Jews aren't doing that. Christians are. Jews aren't waiting until the plane is completely sealed to stand up and tell you why you need to be a Jew. Christians are. Jews aren't getting in buses and then annoying everybody on the bus by starting to preach. Muslims aren't doing it either. Christians are. So you got Boy George just out there being an idiot, but he's always been an idiot. He has not been the smartest person. He became a heroin addict. I don't hold the heroin addiction against him. I ate more OxyContin than I am days old. Truly. It works. You take it, it makes the pain go away. And heroin and OxyContin are basically the same thing. So, I'm not going to slight Boy George for that. I didn't end up going to jail. I didn't spend all of my money. I didn't, end up, doing the nefarious things that he did. But I don't slight him for an addiction. He quit. It robbed him of his voice. And then he made a comeback. So I was rooting for him. When he was a DJ, I rooted for him. He had several songs during that period that came out that I bought. I was rooting for Boy George. And when he got to be a judge on The Voice or whatever it was, I was, oh, good for him. But now, nope, no more. Because and now in this country, if you're coming in for a visa, if you're trying to get a visa, if they deem you anti-Semitic, they're not going to give you one. The U.S. government stance is that Israel can do no wrong. Period. That's our stance, that Israel can do no wrong. That's why we're fighting in Iran. And you got Netanyahu upset with Trump because he's not doing more. Everyone's upset with Trump over Iran. The Hawks are upset. The Doves are upset. Netanyahu's upset. China and Russia just told Donald Trump, you know why he's rushing to negotiate? Did y'all hear this over the weekend? China and Russia, who have deals with Iran, told Trump End it, because it's about to be a world war. If you keep this up, we are going to intervene on Iran's behalf. We have deals with them. We have treaties with them. If you keep this up, we're getting involved. Now, this may not be a forever war, but it certainly may end up a world war. And that's happening. You know, it's happening. They don't want you to hear about it. They're giving you all these distractions. Oh, the reflecting pool this or the, whatever that. They don't want you to hear that China and Russia are telling us, stop the war. Meanwhile, Ukraine has bombed the Russian Amazon. It's called Wildberry, I think. And it has caused chaos amongst the Russian people. And they're doing it now to make the war be felt by the Russian people, so the Russian people will get their government to stop the war. And the one thing they're attacking that's making the difference, their Amazon. It made me wonder, if someone attacked Amazon here and you were unable to use Amazon, what would it do? What do you think it would do to America if we couldn't use Amazon? I'm being serious. What do you think would happen? If something occurred in the United States to where we couldn't use Amazon, what do you think would happen to the mood of the people? Do you think people would care? Do you think they'd want to stop a war over it? What do you think would happen if we couldn't use Amazon, if Amazon got bombed? I'd love to have your comments down below. If Amazon's supply chain was taken out by terrorists, by Iran. Let's say Iran decides to do terrorist attacks inside the United States to get back at us, and they take out Amazon because they see how successful it is with Zelensky doing it to Russia. What if they took out Amazon to where you couldn't get your deliveries? What do you think that would do to the psyche of American people? Because also over the weekend, the Pentagon released an ad to recruit people to go fight in their war, which I don't know why they have to advertise. Why aren't they just drafting all the maggots? Sending all the J6ers, all these big, proud, tough boys with their big trucks and little dicks and big guns. Why aren't they sending them? The minute they started drafting people, the very minute they started drafting people, the war would be over. You think MAGA's going to send their kids? No. Online bullies are cowards. MAGA is filled with cowards. Speaking of cowards, shooting at an In-N-Out burger. Now, In-N-Out will kill you, but it usually takes years. Colon cancer, all of that, high blood pressure, heart disease. So there was a shooting at an In-N-Out in, where is it, Boise, Idaho, I believe, or outside of Boise. And 3 people killed, plus the shooter, so 4 dead. 5 injured, 2 of them critical, so they're still in intensive care. 3 being treated and released from the hospital. Panic and chaos. If you see the video, it's like Japan and Godzilla. It really is. If you see the video of the people running from the In-N-Out, it's like Godzilla's there and they're Japanese. It's like, just running. If you see the people were inside their cars taking videos from behind their seats. I've seen them. People were like in their cars, like just sticking their phone up. And this guy shot up Teslas. Obviously, he hates Elon Musk. Now, it's key to note, he's not a drag queen and he's not a trans person. He's a 25-year-old kid that had access to an AR-15. Not a drag queen, not a trans person. Okay? As far as we know. Now they're white, probably MAGA. Probably. I don't know, so I don't want to say. But I would bet that he's radicalized in some way or another. And he's out there shooting up these people. And it's just sad that nothing gets done the next day. That in our country, we just accept that to go to In-N-Out Burger, you might be murdered. We just accept that. That's just an acceptable risk of being an American. You may go to In-N-Out Burger and be killed. Maybe. Wow. Wow. They killed him. Or no, he killed himself, actually. But when I saw him shooting up the Teslas, I'm like, does he hate Elon Musk? He just shot into Teslas. He just like, they were at a charging station there by the In-N-Out. Because people who eat In-N-Out are so environmentally conscious. Not. In-N-Out is destroying planet Earth. Your love of In-N-Out Burger is literally killing you and the planet. And now you might get shot for that convenience. And what are they going to do? Watch In-N-Out put up bulletproof glass or something. Instead of solving the gun crisis, they'll just they'll look like a pawn shop. For those of you that have ever been to a pawn shop, they normally have glass in between. But that's what they'll look like. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. All right, we're almost done. Speaking of terrible, poor Spokane, Washington. Oh my God. Who isn't just sad about that? 60,000 evacuated. Hundreds and hundreds of homes just destroyed. In fact, did you see the wildfire map? I got to show this to you.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
All right. Where to go? I need a desktop. I need to show you something on this desktop over here. Oh my God, do I ever. You've got to see this. You've just got to see it. Where do I, screen capture, there we go. New screen capture. Okay, here we go. I need it to capture this one. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Look at this. Do y'all see that? That is the wildfire map of the West Coast. Look at that. And look at all that smoke. Look at all that. See all that white? That's all the smoke from these fires. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 30. Over 50 fires. This is the climate disaster. This is climate change right here in front of you. Here it is. There it is. Right there. That is climate change for you. Look at that. Look at the smoke. You know, we're mad at Canada, but look at the smoke. Isn't that something? Look at that map. Look at all of those fires. That's something. I mean, it truly is. I feel horrible for the people in Spokane. Let's see. The EV was immobile during recharging, so the occupants were dead targets when the gunman acted. I don't think the occupants died. I don't think anyone in the Tesla at the In-N-Out died. He shot one of the employees, that poor employee, making $20 an hour, and you're fucking killed over fries and a burger. And then 2 other people, I think they were just, patrons, customers. Just sad. Just sad. And nothing will happen from it. There'll be no new gun legislation. It's already gone from the media, basically. If you go to the news page, let's see if it's even the lead story still. Because, I don't think it would be. But let's see. Let's see what the lead story is. Nope, Todd Blanche is the lead story. Trump calls Iran unbelievably duplicitous after Tehran denies his claims. Talks are resuming. Man who returned fire at In-N-Out gunman had done firearm training in 2021 after 2021 mass shooting that he was in. So a person at this In-N-Out was in a mass shooting in 2021, decided to go get firearm training and help the police shoot this shooter, or shoot at. They didn't hit him. He killed himself. But, so much for advocates saying, well, if there was a guy there with a gun, he could have stopped it. He didn't stop it. He helped the police corral the guy, but the guy still killed people. But this guy was in a 2020. So what are the chances in life to be in 2 mass shootings? Well, I guess in America, pretty good, huh? You would think, and not that, those are astronomical odds. Guess not. Wow. Meanwhile, don't forget to leave a comment down below. What do you suppose would happen to America if Iran took out Amazon through terrorist attacks? If they made Amazon not able to function, what do you think would happen? What would Americans do? Would that be like the straw that broke the camel? Would they be just ready to go to war over that? I mean, what do you think would Americans do if they couldn't access Amazon? Let's see. Trump won a golf title over the weekend, and you know what everyone said? He cheats. Everyone that played with him, they said he cheats. Oh no, rising star of track and field dies suddenly at 21? Oh, that's so horrible. No one should die at 21. What else? Bed bugs in Las Vegas. Yeah, 6 hotels. Check your beds, people. Check your beds. You know? Check your beds. What else is going on in the world before we leave you today? Conservative Christians rage over an ad about HIV prevention. Not Muslims, not Jews. The headline is not Muslim Americans rage about ad over HIV. The headline is not Jews rage over ad about HIV. The headline is Christians rage over ad about HIV prevention. Featuring Michelle Visage from RuPaul's Drag Race. She's not a drag queen that I know of. Oh, what else? Oh, wow. The West Coast is advised to stay indoors for the next 4 days. The National Weather Service advises everyone everyone west of the Rockies, which is everybody, west of the Rockies, to not go outside unless absolutely necessary due to wildfire smoke and intense temperatures. Oh, everything's good here, right? Nothing to see here. America's fine. No, we're all good. Don't even worry about it. We're fine. My God. A doctor fact-checks HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's CNN interview and becomes overwhelmed. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh yeah, AI. We now have reports that ChatGPT also broke out of its model and hacked companies it wasn't supposed to. And you have to wonder, is this intentional? Are they allowing it to break out to see just how far it can go? Like, can it break into the Department of Defense? Can it break into the power grid? You know? And did you hear about these flock cameras that are everywhere? They're like 120,000 flock cameras now for license plate reading and, you know, finding out where you're going. And if you're running a stoplight, they can trace you all across town. People are going in front of the cameras and obstructing them. Well, now we found out that a police officer used flock cameras to stalk his ex. He accessed the data over 600 times to find out where she was going, when she was going there, who she was going with. He stalked her using flock cameras. If you guys haven't heard about these things, they are one of the big, we're becoming the UK. They are putting cameras that monitor your every move. They scan your license plate from location to location to keep track of where you're going. It's not, I mean, it's real. It's a surveillance state and it's happening. And people are obsessed. And they're like, we must not have flock cameras. And people are going out and putting up mirrors in front of them and all of that. But the government's gung-ho about it. Local governments are gung-ho about them. Local municipalities are installing them. There's 120,000 already across the country.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily.
Alrighty, I am Karel. You be who you want to be, so don't hurt anybody. We will be back tomorrow on Tuesday, August 4th. Don't go anywhere except to my website, reallykarel.com, youtube.com/reallykarel. Like and subscribe to the videos. And of course, Patreon, become a patron, patreon.com/reallykarel. My name is spelled Karel. Much love to you. I will see you tomorrow, children.
The Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service.
Showtime is here, no time to fear.